Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm, as you see here, at the briefing room in the White House. Today will be maybe brief, maybe longer. Let's see how it all develops in case somebody comes in and we have a briefing or something else happens, then we have to regroup. But I'm very happy to talk to you and brief you first. We just had a White House press briefing and I didn't have the time to cut out the clips because I was literally in the briefing. I can inform you on a couple of things. My question was that about the Investing in America series. As you guys know, President Biden kicked off the series here at the White House last week, and then he continued in Michigan. And so the question is, my question is, what are the next stops? What are the next cities? What are the next states? So I can inform you first and foremost as to where you can go, where you can attend such not rally but really an event with President Biden, assuming that we have just a couple of months left with him in the office. But also my other question is, of course, about the interview that we have been discussing in our town hall meetings. So we're discussing it, and I'm forwarding your questions and your requests. So that's helps very much. So thank you so much for submitting those questions and your comments. That helps a lot, and I'll keep you updated. And again, thank you for joining. I know it's middle of the day, so we're not going to be, of course, live streaming at 8 p.m. because I'll be en route. Tomorrow also President Biden is arriving in New York, and I will be pulling in New York with Air Force One. So expect more footage tomorrow as well. And today also at 5 p.m. I will go live and I will stream President Biden delivering his remarks at the ADA, 31st anniversary of the ADA being signed into law. And also he will kick off the month of appreciating or the proud the People with Disability Pride Month. So that's what he will be announcing today. But if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any questions about the White House, or turn the camera, show me this, ask now. Now it's the perfect time to do it. I just tried to take you to the South Lawn where they're setting up everything for President Biden, but they don't like, showing the setup. So, so we stay here. But in actual news, let's have some readouts on what happened during the weekend. I was ill, so thank you so much for your wishes, for your comments, for your kindness. I truly, truly appreciate it. I felt like somebody rolled over me. I tested negative for everything multiple times, but something happened. And, today I feel much better, and certainly I traveled too. So first thing that I want to read out first is the campaign updates. So the Harris and Walz campaign updates. Of course, Kamala Harris is already ready to face the debate tomorrow, and or to face Donald Trump tomorrow in the debate in Pennsylvania. After the debate, she will be traveling to New York, joining President Biden because they are together attending first the events for 9/11 in New York City. Then they're going to be traveling to Arlington and Pentagon and commemorating all the places and also everybody who unfortunately lost their lives on 9/11. So in the briefing, I posted it on Twitter. So Karine Jean-Pierre, so White House press secretary, shared that President Biden is looking forward to watching the debate. He will be watching it from New York. He's arriving tomorrow daytime in New York, so he has all the time to get ready and enjoy the debate. And I think all of us will too. She says that he's very proud of her. He's looking forward to it. So I think it's deservingly so for us to look forward to it too. And by the way, there is a pinned post on my Twitter. Go on it and RSVP to our watch party. And today also there was some addition to the watch party. So we have an option. We can watch ABC, so without commentary, or we can watch the debate together with the commentary from Governor Walz. So whatever you guys decide we do, we can also switch back and forth and see what we like the most. But the watch party will start tomorrow at 8:30. At 9 p.m. start the debate. 8:30, you're very welcome to join. So if you RSVP, just leave your email and you will get all the details on how to join. And it will be private, so we'll be like-minded people, and the chat will be safe. So, very welcome to join. Again, if you have any comments or questions, just let me know. Let me know if you can hear me, because I have this thing, because it's pretty loud here. So let me know if you can hear me. Okay, some readouts. So Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz will launch a high-profile tour across battleground states from September 12th to 15th, following the debate with Donald Trump. So expect tomorrow the debate, and then afterwards on the 12th, they're kicking off the tour. So as part of this New Way Forward tour, VP Harris and Governor Walz will embark on swing across the battleground states. For that, they have launched a new ad, and this ad is called New Way Forward. So take a look at the ad, and then we learn more about the tour.
This election is about two very different visions for our nation. One focused on the future, and the other focused on the past. When the middle class is strong, America is strong. Lowering the cost of living will be a defining goal of my presidency. I'll lower the cost of insulin and prescription drugs for everyone, and I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gouging on food. More than 100 million Americans will get a tax cut. We will end America's housing shortage by building 3 million new homes and rentals that are affordable for the middle class. Together, we will build an economy where everyone can compete and have a real chance to succeed. Now is the time to chart a new way forward.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
So, a new way forward. So, for that, on Thursday, Vice President will head to Pennsylvania. On Thursday, Vice President Harris is in North Carolina, and Governor Walz is in Michigan. Then on Friday, VP Harris will be in Pennsylvania again, and Governor Walz will continue to make stops in Michigan and Wisconsin. Then second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, and the First Lady of Minnesota, Gwen Walz, will embark on a swing across key states as well. So second gentleman will be making stops in Nevada, Arizona, and Florida. And the First Lady of Minnesota, Gwen Walz, will be in Georgia, New Hampshire, and Maine. So very busy schedule. If you caught a glimpse of the schedules that I posted, literally, VP Harris is everywhere, every day, like traveling nonstop. President Biden has 6 days of nonstop official events and talking, and nobody is hiding, nobody's in the basement, nobody's playing golf. Okay, to put it this way. Also, John Kirby joined our press briefing, like literally here, an hour ago, and he was talking about the negotiations with Israel. So there were several questions. He said that Hamas did change the agreement a lot, which caused this delay in negotiations. They're still hopeful. Their main idea is to get the ceasefire and negotiate the release of hostages. So that's what they're pushing for. There was a question about if U.S. will punish Netanyahu for meddling or delaying this negotiations and ceasefire deal, such as UK did, right? So UK not really punished, but they are withholding military aid to Israel to kind of enforce them to negotiate faster and make the deal faster. And Kirby said, look, I can't talk to UK. They do what they do, but we will stick to what we're doing. And our main thing is to get the ceasefire deal. In terms of Ukraine, there were a couple of questions as to their drones or pieces of drones that fell in Latvia, that fell in Poland. Will that be sort of affecting NATO, right? Or activating this Chapter 5, the infamous Chapter 5, when NATO would be then striking, right? Attack on one is attack on all. And he said, look, we don't see it this way. It has been happening. Russia tries to provoke, but we will not be acting upon it. Also, which is pretty remarkable, I will post this entire clip of John Kirby joining the White House briefing and first talking about the report that was released by the Congress Republicans, talking about the Afghanistan withdrawal deal and how horrible it was. And then he said, and I was so proud, I will release that, I will put that, post that full clip. He said, listen, all of whatever they put in the report, I will present to you actual facts. And I'm like, actual news, actual facts. We're on the same page. And so then he just listed, he said, look, there was Trump's administration that negotiated withdrawal. There was Trump's negotiation that had made the deal in Doha that made Taliban really the most powerful as they've ever been. Then they released 5,000 Taliban mercenaries, right? Then they met them in Camp David. And so when President Biden actually inherited this deal, he postponed it. And so he prolonged it to make it safer. But then whatever happened, happened. And so then the question was also from, I think, CBS as to, has anybody been held accountable? Has anybody been fired for this withdrawal from Afghanistan? And it's unfortunate withdrawal. Like, remember people jumping on the plane, on the wheels, on the wings, trying to fly or come to US. And then he said, look, we hold all ourselves accountable, but it's not like we're going to blame one person, which is certainly we would be expecting from, let's say, Trump administration. Fire one guy, blame everything on that guy, don't hold any accountability. So great ad. Yes, the ad is pretty good. This stops rallies or small events like the bus tour. So I posted, Keith, and to your question, I think you asked the question as to will Harris and Walz attend those events. A lot of events, the list that I posted first this morning, those are, and will be in your email, by the way. So if you're not subscribed, please get on the email list. You'll get your email. It's already written. I didn't sleep the night. So it will be in your email, and there you'll see all the stops as well. So those stops are for the team. So those are smaller events. Now, when, of course, VP Harris or Governor Walz are speaking, those are the big events. Those are the rallies. Those are the events that will be broadcast, and I will be streaming it if I'm, not pooling with whoever, right? So for that reason. You look great for just getting over being single. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Yeah, I felt like somebody drove like a truck over me. Like I think I slept like 13 hours and then crawled and slept again. Like it's just one of those days, but I'm happy. Main thing was testing negative for anything possible so I can be here and then can be with tomorrow with the president and all. Okay, so 2 busy days. So tomorrow is the arrival in New York with President Biden, and then Wednesday is the 9/11 events, and so also Friday he's holding a brunch, really special brunch for to recognize the contributions that Black Americans did and to celebrate Black excellence. So we talked about it in the briefing briefly today, pun intended. And so we will be, learning more about it. And on Friday morning, it will be at the South Lawn at the White House. So, okay, some actual news also about the campaign that I want to repeat in case you missed it out in your email. So, Team Harris-Walz raised $361 million in August, and $404 million war chest entering campaign home stretch. They have $404 million war chest entering campaign final stretch, as we're now facing less than 60 days. Now, this is the best grassroots fundraising month in presidential history. Hall nearly triples Team Trump's August raise, putting Harris-Walz campaign in a strong position for a stiff spending battle to come. Than $615 million raised since beginning of Vice President Harris' candidacy, which is tracked back to, it was beginning of August, right? So also on Friday morning, in case you missed it, 90 CEOs and business leaders endorsed Kamala Harris and her plans to create opportunity economy. First, it was reported by CNBC, then the message spread out. The list of business leaders, which is continuing to grow, includes CEOs of Yelp, Box, Chobani, former CEOs of Starbucks. Okay, I'm back. That's the internet. What I want to highlight is that Rupert Murdoch's son, James, who, he has contributed a lot to Democratic Party and has endorsed Democratic candidates, but he is also among those who endorsed Kamala Harris and her opportunity economy. He's among those almost 90 leaders, right? So James Murdoch and other corporate leaders signed a letter endorsing Kamala Harris. So next thing, let's talk about second gentleman that I had to cover, but I was ill, so I didn't, unfortunately. And then I didn't see any broadcast, and I was so upset. I posted about it. It was such a good speech, but we couldn't really see it anywhere. So what I'm referring to is that Doug Emhoff was in Pennsylvania, in Allentown, and he kicked off Latinos Con Harrison Walls, which was a great event, great speech. So here's a readout. On September 7th, ahead of National Hispanic Heritage Month, Second Gentleman Douglas Emhoff and Honorable Dr. Miguel Cardona traveled to Allentown, Pennsylvania to rally Pennsylvania's Latino community on behalf of the Harris Walls campaign. They were joined by Pennsylvania Latinos Con Harris Walls co-chairs, including Allentown Mayor Matt Turk, Philadelphia City Council member Quetzi Lazada, State Representative Danilo Burgos, and Lancaster City Council member Janet Diaz. The second gentleman delivered remarks on Vice President Harris and Governor Walz's commitment to Latinos, highlighting their efforts to cut tax for middle class, reduce the cost of groceries, housing, and prescription drugs, and relieve medical debt for millions of Americans. So this was a good speech. If I can't find any clips, I will certainly post it and put it into the email. Also, Governor Walz, which I also had to cover, spoke at the Washington, D.C. Event, HRC event, as you see here. It was, thankfully, it was live streamed by the Harris Walls campaign. So I hope you saw it. It was a human rights campaign. And here's a quick readout. So on Saturday night, September 7th, the Human Rights Campaign, the nation's largest LGBTQ plus civil rights organization, hosted its annual national dinner in Washington, D.C., bringing together LGBTQ advocates and activists from across the country. This year's event featured keynote remarks from Minnesota Governor and Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz, who vowed that he and Vice President Kamala Harris would work tirelessly to pass the Equality Act and secure anti-discrimination protections for LGBTQ plus Americans. Among the special guests were Tony, Grammy, and Emmy Award-winning actor Cynthia Erivo, and who received the HRC National Equality Award, and Tony and Grammy Award-winning performer Leslie Odom Jr. HRC President Kelly Robinson also delivered an inspiring speech. So in his keynote address, if you missed it, and I hope you didn't, I reposted the stream, so please take a look at it. Governor Walz underscored the significance of the election, stating what this election boils down to in a lot of ways is fundamentally about freedom. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, their idea of freedom is that the government should be free to invade every corner of our lives, our bedrooms, our kids' schools, even our doctor's office. When it comes to personal things, body autonomy, your gender identity, when to start a family, marrying who you love. I think we just need to be really good neighbors. Everyone just deserves to be treated with respect, freedom to make that choice. So, also a really personable and relatable clip that I want to share with you from yesterday's interaction of Kamala Harris with some shoppers, really. When she was running some errands, she went to a local store in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and she just talked to folks. So a quick readout, she visited the Pansy's Spices, did I pronounce it right? a beloved small business located in Pittsburgh's Strip District. During her visit, she interacted with store workers and local patrons, including a teacher, consumer protection lawyer, and a middle school student. So, long story short, please take a look at the video. Here we go.
Understand? I'm pretty sure you know.
Oh, it's gonna be good. We're gonna be good. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. We are all in this together.
Yes, we are.
We're gonna be fine.
we are.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Thank you so much.
Huh? Did you get some spices?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. We're standing strong, right? We love our country, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. Who's this? Is this a relative of yours
No,
or just a new friend?
It's a new friend.
Hi.
I'm a lawyer in Pittsburgh here, and I just admire your work so much.
Good. What kind of law you practice?
Consumer protection.
Good for you.
I'm protecting consumers.
Good for you. You know, that's the work I did at AG.
Yes,
That's good
yes,
stuff.
yes.
That's really good. Of course. Come on. Let's do it. Come on.
Oh my God, I'm shaking. Someone take it. I did not get it. Can someone take it for me, please?
Who are the yellow jackets? Come here.
They're my school.
They're your school? What school is that?
Freeport.
Freeport? What's your name?
Charlotte.
Nice to meet you, Charlotte. I'm Congo. Are you cooking also? What are you doing here? Or did you bring an adult with you? Or are you just hanging out?
How are you?
Can I have a hug?
Yes, come here. Of course. Aw. How's school going? Has it started? Yeah?
Uh-huh.
It's going well?
Yeah.
What's your teacher's name?
My homeroom teacher is Mr. Gaylord.
Mr. Gala? Okay, will you deliver a message to your teacher? And you're going to have to say the vice president asked me to deliver this message. Okay, here's the message. Thank you for being a teacher. Will you do that for me? Okay, high five. There we go. Ah, you're good. You're a leader already. Come on. Yes, come on. Here. This way. Got it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. You keep doing your work. You're doing really good. That's good work.
Charlotte, right here. Can I get a picture?
Yes, sweetheart. Come on.
Here's the picture.
Got it. Parents in there. Come on, parents.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you so much.
Hi. We're doing it together. He's a teacher.
Yes.
You are a teacher?
Yes, yes,
What level?
7th grade geography.
Oh,
Social
bless
studies,
you.
yes.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you know, Tim Walsh talked
Yes,
about
yes.
this.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on.
So sweet. And also, I want to point out, can you imagine the other side doing that, right? Because we see those weird, really, interactions at the donut shop and all this sort of like pretending to be normal, pretending to be human, and then it's kind of like weird, really. And then this. So, and then, of course, I tuned in to some Trump speeches yesterday where he said that, Kamala Harris is trying to prepare for the debate. And then his fans are standing in front of her hotel and screaming, go Trump, we love Trump. And so that really, makes him super happy. Then somebody put out the tweet today that, somebody from his MAGAville that Trump is putting Kamala Harris into place tomorrow. And I'm like, as a woman, excuse me. Somebody's a prosecutor, somebody's a convicted felon. Who's putting whom into place? Anyway, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Anyway, speaking of law and order, law enforcement officials endorsed Vice President Harris and Governor Walz. So 100 people got together and signed a letter. So Vice President Harris has brought the same commitment, they say, to law enforcement and public safety to the White House. Through the American Rescue Plan, she and President Biden led the largest federal investment ever in public safety and crime reduction. $15 billion to hire and retain more officers and keep our communities safe. That landmark investment enabled over 1,000 city and county governments to avoid cuts to police budgets and hire more officers. So I posted the whole letter so you can read more about it, but it's really remarkable, and there was it was a Zoom meeting with those people, with the law officials, or let me see here. So yes, enforcement officials. We had a Zoom meeting where they shared their opinion, and really was just so personable and authentic. I have a video of it. It was under embargo for I think 24 hours. And so I think I could reveal it as soon as I could. I posted about it. And it was so personable, where they said, like, we can't really imagine another situation where we would be here discussing that the election is 50-50 when somebody is, being endorsed by, let's say, police officers or some organizations while being a convicted felon. So it was just, whatever discussions we're having, right? We are here having, like, oh my God, how's it possible? So it's interesting to hear it from other, people who are sharing our opinion. Vance fails epically when trying to interact with people in a store. Yeah. Will the Disabilities Act help to compensate for the deficiencies in some states' Medicaid programs? That's a great question. Let me forward it literally to the press office, right behind the flag. I'll forward it. Let me screenshot it real quick. It's learning by doing here. Okay. Forward it right away. We had no questions on ADA, unfortunately, in the briefing. JD Vance shook a first bump, so yeah. I missed that clip. Yeah, a clip is fantastic from that store. Okay, let's continue. Also, okay, fast forward it. If you have any questions, please ask me. Unfortunately, I can't, take you around the White House, but I wanted to. Also, of course, you have heard at this point, those are my older notes because I didn't go live on Friday, but because I was I had no voice. You didn't want to see that or hear that. You would be concerned that Dick Cheney, it will be voting for Kamala Harris. And then we heard that George W. Bush will not be endorsing any candidate. And I'm like, it's quite obvious that you are either, you will be still voting Republican because that's the label, right? Or you don't want to talk about it, grab a pair, right? Or grow a pair and then grab yourself by it. Certainly I think would be very helpful. Will we be having a debrief after the debate with our group? We can. I mean, depending on when it will end. It starts at 9. If it ends at 11 p.m., maybe short, maybe next day. Certainly I don't want people to stay super late because it's a work day and work night. I know in Lisa's turn it will be during the night in Paris, but let's see how long it takes. But certainly we can meet, do a town hall and talk about it. I think it would be pretty interesting. So I want to continue talking about the reproductive rights tour. So it started in Florida. It really in Trump's backyard near Mar-a-Lago, 10 miles away in Palm Beach. And so now the Harris-Walz campaign and the North Carolina Democratic Party fighting, so their parties fighting for reproductive freedom bus tour visits Asheville and Raleigh in North Carolina on Sunday and Monday. So yesterday and today. The tour aims to rally voters against the impacts of overturning Roe v. Wade, including extreme abortion bans. In Raleigh, Doug Emhoff and Gwen Walz, who are joining this bus tour, are discussing how Trump's agenda could further restrict reproductive rights. Do we have any questions? I'm still waiting on Trump to not show up for the debate. I asked, actually, because in the briefing today, I was seated between Newsmax and some other alike. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. I asked when is he traveling to Pennsylvania, so don't know. So in Raleigh, Doug Emhoff and okay, I read this out. So the tour, the reproductive rights tour, is part of nationwide effort making 50 stops in all battleground states to support reproductive rights across political lines. Now, back to the First Lady. So the First Lady is traveling or traveled back to the White House this morning from Delaware with, of course, Joe Biden. But before that, on Thursday and Friday, she was in New York. On Thursday evening, she was, as you may have heard, New York Fashion Week kicked off on Friday. And so on Thursday night, she was in the Hamptons together with Finnegan. Let me show here. right here. She attended Ralph Lauren's show. This was on Thursday night. And then on Friday morning, she kicked off this New York Fashion Week, and they had a march. They marched from 34th Street, Herald Square, if you're familiar with New York, to Bryant Park. And so this was in Bryant Park. It was Fashion for Our Future. And so at the Fashion for Our Future March, First Lady Jill Biden emphasized the power of voting as a tool for change. Reflecting on her own voting experience, she urged everyone to act now. That's, I'm quoting, "That's what we have to do again this fall. Vote early. Then help others to do the same. Post on social media, call your friends across the country, and remind everyone that we can vote our way forward or toward a future where freedom really does reign." And so I posted a long article, I think in the previous email for Friday. So take a look if you haven't yet. And she even like shared her personal experience as to when she went to University of Delaware, and the young senator was being elected, Joe Biden, and she comes from a Republican family, so she thought not to vote for him, but everybody was voting for him. And then she kind of got familiar with his views and voted for him. And then she was so happy that actually her voice counted. So it's pretty cute. Do we have metrics on whether or not the tour has had success, such as volunteer signups or voter registration? Let me see what the campaign will share. That's a great question. Another question. Guys, you're killing it. All right. Screenshot. That's a great question. What we saw today in polls, and everybody was showing it to me, when it comes to Jewish voters, right? I think 24% is just for Trump, and then 60 or 20 something for Trump and 60 something for Harris. Same thing for African American voters. So this was heavily discussed, like among the press today. We all know what happens when a person doesn't show up to the debate; they tend to lose. Yeah. Does anyone know if Wolfsman's debate has been set? Yes, October 1st in New York City on CBS. Yes, on CBS, October 1st. And you can sign up for the thing, and I'm trying to cover it in person for you. Thank you for sharing such great info. Yeah, thank you, Dan. Yes. In terms of you're asking for the rules, will the mics be muted and all that kind of stuff? Hasn't been shared yet. I mean, we still have almost a month to go. We're still kind of hoping there will be another debate, presidential debate. So let's see. By the way, 4:40, we have to already gather for President Biden's speech. So I'll rush. Whatever we're not covering today, tomorrow in our usual spot, we'll do it. And I will add also more footage with President Biden, Air Force One and stuff tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, I will go live around 7 p.m. And then, so we're ready by 8:30 to do the debate, watch the debate. Also, this Friday, bless you, CNN. On Friday, there will be what I mentioned, the brunch on South Lawn at the White House, celebrating Black excellence. But then afterwards, President Biden will welcome the Prime Minister of Great Britain, Starmer, where they will be discussing, of course, the ceasefire deal and hostage release between Israel and, of course, Hamas. And then they're also going to talk about Ukraine. And here's a readout. This will be their second meeting at the White House since Prime Minister Starmer's election this summer. The leaders will have an in-depth discussion on a range of global issues of mutual interest, including continuing robust support to Ukraine and its defense against Russian aggression, securing a hostage release and ceasefire deal to end the war in Gaza, protecting international shipping in the Red Sea from Iranian-backed Houthi threats, and advancing a free and open Indo-Pacific. So also, in terms of the Houthi threats, or we don't have much update. And that was my question today as well. We don't really have, I mean, I understand it's a negotiation with a terrorist organization. So the more updates you share, the more they can maneuver, right? Because you announce something, they change their opinion, and then everything changes. You have to renegotiate. So that might explain why we're lacking information, but certainly we don't hear much. Now, in terms of Ukraine, there was an announcement today, two announcements. First thing that German Chancellor Scholz said that he wants to be the peace chancellor, and he wants to negotiate the peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. And then there was this rumor that he said it would not exclude the idea of Ukraine surrendering territory, which certainly, I mean, territorial integrity is at the core of what Ukraine is fighting for. Because you're not just giving up territory, you're giving up people for torture, for genocide, really. Because they also referring it on YouTube, we're gathering like more views. Thank you guys, thank you. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe, please like, so we get more like-minded people. But people are commenting as to, why don't you talk about ethnical Russians because they're being so protected by Russia? I am that ethnical Russian. My mother's family is from Moscow. My father's family is from Ukraine. So I'm that ethnical Russian who grew up in Kharkiv, where we spoke Russian. And I can show you pictures of our house bombed several times and then invaded by Russians. So what are protecting? Who is protecting? Nobody was telling us not to speak Russian. Nobody told us anything. I barely could speak Ukrainian before I started working for, as a diplomat in the UN. Like, give me a break. Okay, let's talk quickly about jobs. So this was announced again on Friday. President Joe Biden issued a statement on August jobs report, highlighting the decrease in unemployment to 4.2% and the creation of 142,000 new jobs. He credits the administration's economic policies with creating nearly 16 million jobs, increasing wages, and boosting business investments. Biden emphasizes the importance of maintaining these gains and focusing on sustaining progress. He also criticizes congressional Republicans' economic policies, arguing against tax cuts for the wealthy and proposed reductions to social programs, while stressing his administration's commitment to expanding opportunities, growing the middle class, and reducing costs for American families. Also, what I shared before, and I think I covered it on Thursday, that Secretary Yellen traveled to Raleigh, North Carolina, to talk about the IRA, right? The Inflation Reduction Act and the impact of it. So I have a video of Secretary Yellen talking about the achievements that the Biden-Harris administration has accomplished. Take a look.
I saw the ways in which the university itself is using the bonuses that are present in the bill to make their own campus as energy efficient as possible. I was shown a new electric vehicle program that they have started up, and was invited to drive an electric vehicle, which was my first time doing it, and it was exciting and fun. So a lot happening here. We talked about all the ways in which the Biden administration is working to lower energy costs and other costs for Americans.
So she, of course, traveled in North Carolina, visited several universities that are benefiting from the investment. Also, big news from the IRS. Secretary Yellen and IRS Commissioner Danny Werfel announced significant progress at the Austin IRS campus, showcasing achievements under the Inflation Reduction Act. So here's what's new. First is the high income tax compliance, the IRS targeting 125,000 high-income earners who haven't filed since 2017. With new resources, they've collected $172 million from 21,000 individuals so far. Efforts to recover $1.1 billion from 1,600 additional high-income individuals are also proving successful. Also, Digital First Initiative. So IRS is launching advanced digital tools to enhance taxpayer service. Expect more user-friendly online features, including an updated Where's My Refund tool, direct file for free, IRS filing, and mobile-friendly services. Over the past 2 years, IRS has introduced more digital tools than in the previous 20 years. So imagine, 20 years, nothing has changed. The past 2 years, more changes than in the past 2 decades. And also tech modernization. So IRS is updating its 65-year-old technology system. 65-year-old technology system. Can you imagine 65-year-old computer? Moving from outdated assembly code to modern Java, the new integrated text processing engine will improve data accuracy and processing speed, aiming to make interactions with the IRS as efficient as dealing with a bank. These advancements are part of the broader effort to modernize and improve the IRS, ensuring fairness and efficiency in tax administration. So also what I wanted to share about Trump, he gave a press conference that you guys told me not to cover at the Trump Tower. And there, I think why he did that, to sort of to talk before another woman will speak out again, because she did that before, about his alleged sexual assault on her. And I want to show you the clip where he talks about the details and making out, not making out with the woman. But I want you to pay attention to his lawyers, because he started the meeting by stating that, look at the guys behind me, they're worth nothing, right? They're just like failing at everything, because certainly he's losing cases. But take a look at his whole story. It's 2 minutes.
Now, there were two witnesses. One is a woman who's followed me for years. She said in 1979, I was in an airplane with her, commercial flight, and we became very intimate. I just sat down. I think I had the book, The Art of the Deal. I was famous then, too. I've been famous for a long time. And we're sitting in first class, according to her. Never happened, by the way. Totally made up story. She's a Clinton person, too, by the way, big Clinton person. She made up the story. And so many years ago, and I think it would be 1979, one of my many people behind me could correct it, but I think she said 1979, that's a long time ago. And I sat down. I believe I had some pretty big success then, and I was being talked about a lot. Maybe The Art of the Deal was out, sometime after that, I'm not sure. But I was well known. And passengers are coming into the plane. And she said I was making out with her. And then, after 15 minutes, and then she changed her story a couple of times, maybe it was quicker, that I grabbed her at a certain part, and that was when she had enough. Now, so think of the impracticality of this. I'm famous. I'm in a plane. People are coming into the plane. And I'm looking at a woman, and I grab her, and I start kissing her and making out with her. What are the chances of that happening? What are the chances? And frankly, I know you're going to say it's a terrible thing to say, but it couldn't have happened. It didn't happen. And she would not have been the chosen one.
It's just like, how low can you go? Can you go this low? It's like in a song. But another clip, his spouse, former First Lady, Melania Trump, she is releasing a book called Melania, where she talks about freedom of speech and how somehow Trump was taking away his freedom of speech. He's literally telling a woman he allegedly sexually assaulted to shut up because she wouldn't be a chosen one. So he would have certainly done it to another one. And Lisa, to your point, yeah, he's never saying I'm not being a part of this ever, or I would never engage with this sort of behavior. He just says, oh, I don't like her. So take a look at Melania's clip.
The 2020 election results changed our lives forever. It impacted our quality of life, cost of food, gasoline, safety, and even the geopolitical landscape. America is more divided today than ever before. It has become increasingly apparent that there are significant challenges to free speech, as demonstrated by the efforts to silence my husband.
To silence? Is it possible even to silence him? So also what we have heard is that Judge Merchan, who is overseeing his Manhattan hush money case, has rescheduled the sentencing. So it's supposed to happen on September 18th. Now it's going to be on November 26th. Why? Here's a quote from him. The court is a fair, impartial, and apolitical institution. Postponing Trump's sentencing should dispel any suggestion that he tried to give an advantage to or to create a disadvantage for any political party and for any candidate for any office, he writes. So I do understand it, but trying to be apolitical, trying to be so correct, you certainly are helping, right? Because it's been going on for years. You're not doing anything to provoke anybody, but you're ending up helping. It's the same thing as when we talk about why Ukraine is not allowed to strike inside Russia. Oh, because we don't want to provoke Russia. But then you are helping Russia. You're almost securing their skies more than you're securing the skies of Ukraine. Meanwhile, you're saying you have the robust support for Ukraine, right? So that's sort of a thing, certainly. Here's your, she should try a pill over here. Can change sentencing yeah, I get what the judge is doing. I do too, but I certainly agree with you, Brandon. It certainly can backfire because we're almost helping with this. You're almost helping because it's almost like if Kamala Harris will not be straightforward and strict tomorrow, which I see really being discussed on Twitter, like, oh, I hope she's not going to be nasty. I hope she's not going to be the angry woman. Anytime we voice an opinion, even as I talk right now, I'm probably labeled as an angry woman. Just you can't escape it. All right. Agree, judge is helping, and he really isn't allaying any fears. And also, I've read that since, situation in Afghanistan, I read it. It was not raised. I will forward it. I screenshot it already when we played the clip. Keith, thank you. We ending up helping, right? But what I see also as a discussion as that because he is postponing it, that means there's a sentencing, he goes to jail. Who knows what, right? Because if he wins, he's gonna, pardon himself on day one in the first minute, right there and then at the Capitol, right? Before, as soon as he is sworn in. Harris is damned if she does, and if she does, yeah, exactly. That's like to quote Eleanor Roosevelt, like you will be criticized anyway, so you might as well do what you believe is true at your core. Also, what I wanted to share lastly, because now we have to run for the President Biden speech. You saw Trump announcing that he is offering Musk a certain position at the government to oversee government's efficiency. Here's what Musk said to Wall Street Journal in 2021.
The federal budget deficit is insane. It's like $3 trillion. Federal expenditures are $7 trillion. Federal revenue is $4 trillion. That's a $3 trillion difference in. If this was a company, it'd be a $3 trillion loss. So. I don't know if we should be adding to that loss. That seems pretty crazy. Something's got to give. You can't just spend $3 trillion more than you earn every year and expect, don't expect something bad to happen. I think, this is not good. The deficit is more than $3 trillion when you look at the future obligations. So it's $7 trillion of current expenditures, but it's much more than that if you look at future obligations for Social Security, Medicare, and so forth. So we're running this incredible deficit. Something's got to give. I don't know. This can't keep going.
And what I wrote in the newsletter, if you read it. And by the way, here's the last reminder. Get on the newsletter. Where is it? Here we go. Here. When you want to fix your budget, right, you ask to, or you consider reducing your expenses, but also taking more revenue. So if billionaires and millionaires and big companies like Amazon and folks like Musk are never paying tax or paying as little as possible, meanwhile, your first thought is to reduce Medicare and Medicaid, take the last resort from people who rely on these few dollars to sustain themselves and feed their families and have a roof over their head. Shame on you. So my point is, lastly, vote to be on the right side of history. Okay? So thank you for joining me. I know it was short, but I'm very happy that we could do this from the White House. Last, I agree, Lisa, he should have done it back in July. That's to the Judge Merchan, yes. Donald can pardon state cases, which is what New York case is. He could pardon federal cases. And there's that immunity too. So, and the judges he appointed and elected. By the way, President Biden appointed few judges. I'm going to, or suggested few. I'm going to put it up soon. So thank you so much for joining. At 5 p.m., I'm going to broadcast President Biden's speech celebrating 31 years of ADA and delivering remarks, or marking the beginning of the People with Disability Honor Month, or Pride Month. So I'm going to stream that right away at 5 p.m. from the White House. I'm going to run there and set it all up. So thank you again for joining. And tomorrow around 7 p.m. we're going to do unfiltered version. Deficit trauma increased by 7 trillion. Yeah, exactly. Yes, update on Onest network profile. Send. What? I don't get it. No. Thank you guys. Thank you. It's this briefing you're going to be live streamed. It's not a briefing, it's President Biden speaking at the South Lawn, and I will be live streaming it. So stay tuned. It will be on X and on YouTube. Thanks, Olga, as always. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everybody. Okay, gotta run. See you in a bit. I'm not going to offer in commentary because Joe Biden's going to speak. So see you in a few at the South Lawn.